Hello, world. This is CuzTheInternet Podcast. I'm your host, Trey.
And I'm your Jose, and let's get into it. I want to talk about friends.
Mm,
How many of us have them? Friends.
mm.
Ones you can depend on. Um, the Joe Budden Podcast. We all know what's going on. We all know he fired Rory and Mal and all that stuff.
Hey, y'all go get the advertiser and the integration. Hey, we talk about these deals all the time. You bring it, you eat different. I bring it, I eat different. You niggas ain't brought shit and got the nerve to have y'all fucking representation and ain't been around in 6 years hit Ian phone about something. I won't say what I want to say, but y'all will not continue to treat me this way. Y'all not gonna continue to treat these people this way. Y'all take that fucking dark energy, that arrogance, and that entitlement somewhere else.
PTSD.
I say all of that to say, we gonna do this. Since Rory feels like he has so many options here. Somehow he still feels like he's running the show. He still feels like he has choices and options. He feels like he's entitled to more. Rory, you are in breach of your contract, and from this point forward, you are fired, and you're not welcome back. Does anybody in here have a problem that I'm the person that has to say that?
No.
Maul, I'm the person that has to say that.
Rory and Maul can go start a podcast. Well, no, they can't. Not at least for another year. By contract. If they do, I'm going to sue the fucking pants off of them.
So, starting off, everything was fine. They were living their best life. But then Rory started to get into a beef with academics, right? And their beef just started getting messier and messier. And we're not even going to go into the details of that. But Joe Budden and academics are still friends. They used to be co-workers and they still maintain a relationship. But now, due to the fact that was in business with Rory and Mal and they were having problems with ACT, they wanted him to end that relationship because it was just a conflict of interest, because Joe Budden was telling them they couldn't speak on the problems with ACT on their platform, but ACT was just bashing them on his. So at that point, when Rory pretty much started to just become disgruntled, started, just nothing, but always wanting to fight or argue, and just kept going at him. So then I guess Joe Budden had enough, and he told him, you know what, you're suspended from the show. And now at that point, Maul had a problem because he was like, we're all in this together. And you didn't speak to any of us about this, and you took it on your own. And we're all supposed to be business partners, and we all started this together. Not one person should be in charge of everybody's. Just basically, one person shouldn't be in charge of the fate of any other individual on this show. And then at that point, Maul had a problem with how he spoke with him and stuff, and he found it very disrespectful. So he was like, "Yo, I'm gonna take a break too." So they both ended up taking a break from the show. And during that time, Joe Budden had other people come in to fill the spot. And so it was just a messy situation at that point. But they ended up to work it out for a time being. They decided to come back. They spoke about it. And Mal, pretty much explained his grievance. Same thing with Rory, but they said they were planning on working it out. So then now it turns out, I don't know whether it's because of the business aspect of it, because Joe Budden was saying something about you had the nerve to try to find out, call somebody in to look at the contracts and stuff and all this other stuff, business aspect. And he just said, you know what, you guys are fired, don't want them back. And that's pretty much the rundown of everything.
So, question for you. How do you feel about that whole situation? Like, just every and anything in general. Like, every sticky, dirty situation about that. I mean, I say dirty because it is a dirty situation. It's very dirty. Anyways, how do you feel about it?
All right. So the thing is, I'm generally a Joe Budden apologist. Like, I always try to find the method in his madness and the reason why he does certain things. But no, this time it's hard for me. I don't want to put the whole blame on him. I'm sure there was unprofessional from them walking away from the show. I'm sure there were certain things, the way Rory was talking to him on some of these shows were unprofessional. So they did have their parts in it. But I have to put majority of the blame on Joe Budden. Uh, at the end of the day, if let's say we're not family, but we're doing business together, and this is where our business is. I'm not saying I would cut off somebody else. Let's say you had a problem with, but on the other hand, if they continuously attacked you and that is affecting our business, I'd have to try to find a medium or a way to handle it rather than just tell you you can't respond while this other person's bashing you and, you know, getting into your personal life. So I think he was wrong for that. And therefore that created a lot of the animosity, and that created a lot of animosity between Maul and him, because Maul is the person with a lot of character, and he says that, you know, morals and character, and he's always pointing that out. So for him, he was like shocked that he's like, you're supposed to be our boy, you're supposed to be holding us down, we started this together, and you're letting somebody do this and laughing with him on lives and doing other things while he's coming at us. So I have to put that on Joe Budden, that particular situation. Now, as far as, like I said, them taking the break, I think that, yes, if I think it was wrong again, Joe Budden doing that without speaking to them. In Joe Budden's mind and contract, I guess, because I don't know how their contract worked out, but in Joe Budden's mind, he was the boss. So I guess he didn't have to speak with Maul on the subject, but I would assume that you would. Again, if this affects all of you, you should if you're supposed to be the boss, you have to handle things as a boss. And that's knowing that the people that work for you still matter. And he didn't really treat it as though Maul's opinion mattered in that point. So that I think he was wrong for. I don't necessarily think he was wrong for suspending Rory. That's the thing. I don't necessarily think he was wrong for it, because Rory was starting to act out and was coming through in the show. It was like, you know, there was animosity showing. So I don't think there's anything wrong with you saying, yo, you need to take some time away, breathe, because right now how it's going, we won't be working together for long. I could agree with that. Fine. But there's ways you go about things. I think he was wrong on that. And now this final straw, I don't know exactly what happened, but from what Joe Budden was saying about his issue was the fact that they were acting as though they were partners and they weren't working for him, I guess. And they wanted to look over a contract and know how much people were making and all this stuff. And he just said, you know what, you're fired. Again, to me, that just sounds like somebody with too much of an ego and letting the power get to their head. So I put it on Joe Budden again. So my actual feelings towards it, I'm disappointed because it seems as though Joe Budden has a track record with these things. Again, with Slaughterhouse, how when they were dismantling and him dissing Eminem and going again. And then next thing you know, with Everyday Struggle, I guess it was all about contract, whatever the issue was, but it just seems like he has a track record. When things are going good, he finds a way to mess it up. So no, I have to put it on Joe Budden, and if I was in business with him, I'd be kind of leery on him, because I really wouldn't know where his loyalty would be. Last thing you want to be is just a number to somebody. You want to at least hope that they have your best interest in mind with whatever decisions they're making. So that's how I see it. I put it all on Joe Budden, and I think I don't see how this show is going to survive with anybody other than Rory and Mal, to be honest. How you feel about it?
I mean, you definitely explained it very well, and I agree with you. There are some parts where I didn't. The fact that you said Joe Budden seems like he has, like, if basically things are going good, he finds a way to make it go bad. I don't necessarily think he finds a way to make it go bad. It's just, I feel like it gets to his head and he feels like he's bigger than the world or whatever is happening. So he needs to be treated special, like he needs special treatment. And when he's not given that special treatment, then he feels like, you know what, I'm out of here. It's not going to work without me. Because with Everyday Struggle, he was saying how basically he wasn't supposed to work on Fridays, but then they wanted him to work on Fridays, and he was talking about like ads, getting ads, and whatever the case may be. And then he said when they saw like, basically he found like he was the one bringing all the stuff, so they needed him more than he needed them, quote unquote. So at this point, he was just like, okay, F it, like I'm gone. But it's one of those things where I feel like he just, and then with him telling Rory to basically take a seat, like chill out. I was like, once again, I think you were wrong, because no, he should have talked to everybody. He should have spoke to him instead of saying this. Because my thing is this, okay, you guys built this together. In your mind, you are the main person. So Voltron, you're the head, and everybody else comes whatever. Now, you're telling them, hey, because you and Akademiks have a relationship, you guys can't use this platform to speak on that. So you can speak about everything else. When you were on Everyday Struggle and you were going off on Eminem, you were still part of Slaughterhouse, or you were supposed to be part of Slaughterhouse. You're going, oh, horrible trash, this, blah, blah, blah. Nobody can hold your tongue. Nobody can tell you how to feel. You spoke your truth and you spoke your mind. It's what you believe, so nobody can say you're wrong for it. Now with Rory and Akademiks going back and forth. Rory has a platform. So does Akademiks. Now, you and Akademiks are friends, so maybe you can talk to Akademiks like, yo, ease up on the talking about Rory and blah, 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 and all. But you didn't say anything to him. You said you can't use this platform to speak about what's going on. How is that fair? Like, you can say whatever you want about anything, but now I must be silent because that's your friend. And then now when I'm disgruntled and I'm angry and I'm upset because it's like, yo, I have to bite my tongue, but this, for lack of better words, loser is here talking about me the whole time, I can't say nothing. But then now you're going to be like, well, oh, you want to fight me? Well, you don't take some time off. I feel like this power gets to your head. And even outside of like the contracts and whatever, like you can tell there was never no real friendship on your end, because that's not how you treat friends. You don't fire them on the air and then pull the, like, no, you don't do that stuff. Like, yo, you have a conversation.
Exactly.
So this is why I wasn't mad at Mal for what Mal was saying. And then the thing is, when he was going on his rant and he was like, Rory, you're fired, breach of contract, you're fired. And Mal, you're saying that I didn't talk to you. I don't have to talk to you because I'm the boss. Like, it's like, yo, ego. Like, you are really tripping right now. Like, you feel like you're bigger than your bridges. Like, you're going to keep burning your bridges till there is no more. Like, you can't treat people like that, especially if these are supposed to be your boys. Like, and you can tell when they came back and they were having the discussion, like letting people know what was happening. You can tell he was bothered by what they were saying. He didn't agree with it, but he didn't want to keep with the argument. So he was just trying to, well, you know, and it's like, nah, it's about principle. It's about respect. Like, yo, as a man, as boys, like, yo, you're supposed to come to us and just, and that's all he was saying. But then he's like, well, no, because, and it was like, you really feel like you were like
the sole reason.
Like, exactly. Like me and you spoke before when the podcast had no name. You're like, they should have left it like that.
Exactly.
Like calling it the Joe Budden Podcast, now it makes him feel like
I'm the reason why.
Exactly. And so when he told them to take a break, I mean, he's the one who told them to take a break. So I mean, them leaving, I don't see anything wrong with it. You told them to take a break, they took the break. But I feel like what happened was when he got the other people to replace them, hey, ratings were still okay. It didn't go down or anything. So now in your mind, you feel like they're expendable. So I don't need them, but they need me. Because then even when you guys go out and find contracts and this, and I'm like, once again, this is something you all built over the last couple of years. So how are you now turning around saying, oh, well, I'm the one, I bring the, like, it's we, not I.
Exactly.
Like, and that's what bothered me about the whole thing. Like, I was like, you really didn't respect them as people, period. I can't even say as friends, as people, because you don't treat people like that, especially if you're doing business with them. Like, there are different ways to go about it. Maybe you did it for ratings. I don't know. But, yo, you call them, email them, talk to them, see them in person, something. You don't just go on the air and just be like, you know what? Breach of contract, you're fired. And you know what? I don't have to speak to you about it because, it's me. I'm like, nah, not at all.
No, I
So,
agree.
you know what? I'm not mad at them for whatever. And then you were telling me that he was even going on the rant saying if they come out with another podcast within the next year.
He's gonna sue their pants off, man. He's gonna sue the hell out of them. They can't, as far as their contract, they can't have another podcast for another year. That's the part that had me boiling. The rest of it was just ignorant, and I was just like, man, like it made me look at him different when he was just going off. But that made me like, you're a snake. You are a snake. So you're telling them you don't want them back on your show. They're fired, but I don't want you to make a living either. That is some dirty download stuff, man. So I'm like, that's the part that had me like, wow, this is, I lost a lot of respect for him on the way he's handled this. Nah, man, I can't watch that show no more.
Trust me. Like, I'm not going to lie to you, okay? Like, I really and truly, like, I'm not going to say I only watch it for them. Like, I watch it for all three of them because, like, actually all four of them because
Parks. I lost some love for Parks too. Parks is just a yes man now, man.
I understand that. I'm saying I watched it for them because I was like, okay, yeah, cool. Like the dynamic, everything was cool. Yeah. And then when they left and it was him and Parks, whatever. I feel like Parks obviously is not. Like I feel like Parks was the producer and Parks was just okay. He's just there now, so exactly. And so. I mean, he didn't really like.
He didn't stand out. He was just a part of it, part of the clique, and he helped it move, but he wasn't Mal and Rory, Exactly.
So, him just being the yes man. I mean, that was his part. That's what his position. That's what he played. So it's like, okay, cool. So now when them gone, I'm like, well, I don't care anymore. So, I mean,
yeah.
Like after they left. When they left the first time, I stopped watching it because I was like, what happened? And then when I saw they were back, that's why I watched it. And I was like, okay, cool. I was like, you can see there's still tension, but obviously they're still working on things. So I was like, okay, cool. Now all of a sudden, I was like, nah, I'm good without it. It's fine.
I agree. I
mean, it's not to say he's going to it's going to cost him anything that I'm not watching it. But
no, but I'm sure there's a lot of people that are feeling the same way. Like he really showed a different side. Like there's one thing where someone could be angry and but he took it to another level. Like I said, for me, the other level was the contract thing. Everything else, people get upset for ratings. He wants the world to hear. I fully understand this is a business, but that contract thing was just dirty and evil, bro. Like that you're going to tell them like, yo, I'm going to sue you if you even think about starting another podcast. Like, really? Like these are supposed to be your people. You're supposed to have some love for them, and you're telling them don't even think about trying to create income. But no, Parks, it was bothering me, man, because I was hearing the rant and all this stuff, and Parks, you just hear him in the background, like, I hate people like that, man. Like I could never be that person. I call people out on their stuff, whether it might be at my own detriment. But if you are upset with somebody that we're generally all cool with, and you start throwing out like, yo, if you even think about getting a job within the next year, I'll be like, bro, chill. Like, that's just me. I'll be like, you're going too far, bro. Like, I get you.
That's it. There are some people out there, though, that, I mean, they will look out for themselves. Yeah. Like, at the end of the day, like him, he looks out for himself. He does not look out for it because if you look out for your people, even if you said, you know what, because you act like you have all these different ventures happening for you and whatever, this is not gonna whatever, you breach your contract, you're fired. Yeah. That's fine. You could, I mean, no, it's not fine. But you can do that. Yeah. But then the fact that you then now said, if you try to start a podcast within this next year, I'm gonna sue you. Like you've never had love for me. You've never. It was all about you right now. And you're the only person you thought about. Or you're the only person you think about. And then you're going to make it seem like, oh, well, all these people are here while you guys were gone. All these people were here and the bills still need to be paid and this and that. You act like you were doing it for them. You weren't doing it for nobody except for yourself. Exactly. That's why you got the other dudes to step in and whatever. And when you saw, hey, this machine is still rolling with other people because it's called the Joe Budden Podcast, not the Joe, Rory, and Mal podcast.
Exactly.
Or so, anyways, but Parks, he's one of those people where it's like, you know what? This is between them. I'm not part of it. I'm still doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm still gonna get paid. So hey, yeah, you're right. You're right. It's like, no, you're not right.
No. Them stepping away for that month and a half or whatever, however long, and them saying these people needed to work, and what did you think we were gonna do? Like Mal was saying, he was like, it wasn't supposed to be that long. It's you that got other people in here, and we were supposed to talk about it and get back to it. It might have only been a week. Like you said, copping out, using other people, so it seems as though you're the good Samaritan. Like, yo, you know, I'm looking out for these people. These people have nothing to do. Like, no, you're looking out for yourself. That's why you brought other people in there so that you wouldn't have to work it out. But then so much people were asking questions about it and wanting to know. And so you had to address it and bring them back. But overall, you were over them. You were over with it. It's just that it was pretty much one of those, if you look at me wrong, I'm going to do something. And that's what it was. They looked at him wrong and he was like, you know, I don't need you guys. And at least now he has actual reason to do it.